swear, man, any name in the NBA is in the discussion or in the mix when it comes to the San Antonio Spurs right now. Like, everybody is desperately trying to see who's the next player, who's going to be the first big free agent to come to San Antonio.
I want some nasty. Are we having fun yet?
This will happen, okay? The Spurs will get a big free agent name, probably sooner than later. But it will not be D'Angelo Russell, or I'll be completely shocked, flabbergasted, and quite upset if they were to get D'Angelo. So I just wanted to look at this article because this was one that I actually really liked because they were brutally honest. This is from Jaleel Williams. Hopefully I said that right. And so there are reports trying to push D'Angelo Russell to the San Antonio Spurs. I saw some other articles as well, kind of rumoring that. It's really strange. And then there's this. He said that's where many Spurs fans find themselves amid commune rumors of San Antonio's potential interest in D'Angelo Russell, which I have no idea about this one. So this is on Bleacher Report. D'Angelo Russell makes some sense for Magic Spurs contract buzz. So yeah, I don't know how much interest he has in the San Antonio Spurs, but what I do know is people are talking about it and pushing this a little bit. Let me go ahead and say this before we look at what they have to say here and him being brutally honest in this article. Let me say this. Skill-wise alone, it makes sense. I mean, especially since he shot so well from deep throughout the season. Don't get me wrong. He can shoot, especially when he gets hot. It's like... It's incredible. Like, he looks like a superstar when he gets hot. But even though I think that he's matured a lot throughout his career, I still think that it's something that he's missing when it pertains to like understanding or being completely content with just taking a back seat or being humble when it comes to just being aware of your game or the flaws that's in it. I just think that a lot of times with D'Angelo Russell, man, it seems like he's one of those players that he just cannot be one of the top scorers on your team. Like, if he's coming off the bench and maybe he's like the fifth best player on a team, I think that he's a really great weapon. But with the Spurs and taking on D'Angelo Russell, he is going to demand that ball. Not saying that he's going to be like, oh, Pop, I need the ball more. I'm just saying that his talent-wise and his the years that he's been in the league, he's going to take a lot of touches away from younger guys. It's just naturally going to happen. There's no way around it. And I just really don't see a point in that. And the other thing is, a lot of people have pointed out that we do need like some type of veteran and veteran leadership. And I don't think that D'Angelo Russell has the personality or the leadership skills that would merit that type of signing. Like, I know I sound like a hater, but I just don't see it. I don't think that he's a good fit for San Antonio. So a lot of people got quite upset about this clip in particular. So actually, we'll just play it on Twitter itself so we can go directly to the comments after. So this is D'Angelo Russell talking about his situation basically with his contract.
I mean, I didn't say I don't think about it. I just, when I signed my contract last year, I knew what position I was going to put myself in. So to be in that position now with a little leverage, I'll try to take advantage of it. Cool.
All right, now that doesn't seem that bad, but when you say something like to take advantage of my leverage, you start to ask the question, okay? It begs the question, what leverage? Like, he had a really great season, but the playoffs, it was pretty doggone bad. And you can see here from the comments, people did not take too kindly to this. Just an absolute bum. Please leverage yourself to another team. And these are more than likely Lakers fans, I would assume. Please opt out. Don't come back to Lakers. Love of the game where? I don't even know. That crab dribble BS is not leverage. The Pistons and Trailblazers already calling with big bags for him. Let's see. Leverage this. Yeah. So if you didn't watch that series, he was dreadful on both ends of the court. There wasn't any part of his game that I sat back and said, oh yeah, this was the D'Angelo Russell that you saw for at least a chunk of this last season. He was not there, non-existent, did not show up. And I don't know, the mentality going into these games or anything, so I won't sit here and question his mentality. I don't know if he had something going on. No idea. But what I do know is in the regular season, it was fine. They're decently fine. And I saw Lakers fans kind of laying off of him as the season went on. But as soon as we got to the playoffs, it was god awful. And don't get me wrong, they also had terrible coaching, so maybe that's a part of it too. But I don't know, man. I think there's really no excuse for that. So, like I said, getting him, it just doesn't make a lot of sense, because if you have it in the you have the mindset of, oh, well, we can get a veteran leader, I don't necessarily think that he's a great leader. So, like, what do you get from that? Like, a great leader would have still played hard and played well despite having a terrible coach. Like that's just my thoughts on it. But moving on. Let's see here. D'Angelo Russell does not fit the Spurs culture, and he just goes on to say that he shot 42%. But he also said that he feels as if he does not get it. There is a self-awareness intangible missing from his repertoire, made obvious by his comment above. And yeah, he just goes on to say that he just doesn't really think that it's worth it. With poor shooting, I can never say this word, lackadaisical defense were on display during the first round. He says he is 28 years old, and next point guard the Spurs need in the lineup has to align with the timeline. Now, okay, I kind of agree. Yeah, 20, I mean, that's not old by any means, but like, yeah, you have to fit. You have to fit with the timeline. I think 25 or younger would be pretty decent. But yeah, I agree with that. Russell does not fit within that frame. It would be different if he were expected to come off the bench for a reasonable price, but the Spurs already have Trey Jones and Blake Wesley to fill that role, and Russell has made it clear he expects to be compensated nicely. There is no way that should happen in San Antonio. So yeah, it would just be a bad move. And it's one of those things very similar to the whole DeJounte Murray thing, right? If the Spurs were to make this move and actually go after D'Angelo Russell, I would question them. I would question them. Now, luckily, I haven't really had to get onto our franchise at all. I think that most of all of their decisions have been pretty prestige, okay, pretty doggone good. One thing that I noticed about the Spurs is they rarely make any bad moves. It's always either a good move or you had something that could have been better, right? Or that's not what I'm trying to say. It's either a great move or a good move. That's what I mean, right? Like, for instance, I mean, people always bring up like the Devin Vassell, Halliburton thing. But Devin Vassell was a good pick, but you could have done something greater. And they're always in that frame. It's always like good or great, or at least makes sense. At the very least, it makes sense what they're doing. So I think that we have a pretty good franchise, and them going after this, it would question a lot. I'll be a little worried. But anyways, get with you guys later, man. Until next time, bye.